Godot tutorial, I will demonstrate how to be able to use the inventory Godot system with the SQLite on the GitHub that I have here. So first, remember you have to download the browser, the SQLite browser. Then you go and get the code, download zip. So it's going to extract and we see it here. Now that we got that, we open here and we're gonna open this with 3.4.2 version and it's gonna give you this error. So you just go and put cancel and let's try to open. As you see, it will not run, it will give you an error. So how to fix that? It's pretty simple. You just have to remove this and then get the from the asset library again, Godot SQLite plugin. So we're downloading it again, and okay, it's loading, install, okay. Okay, now we have it, so we should be good to go. As you see, yeah, so it's fixed. But remember, you have to get this browser, otherwise it will not work. As you see that store here, it's on the, so it's over here, the database, which is the file that's holding the database first from SQLite. Start with the market for the Mpc. So let's get started with the functions. So you can buy items from the Mpc. First, we have to create a new panel, which is going to be called an Mpc slot with the Mpc slot script. And then we're going to assign a texture rec. We have to make sure that this texture rec is on 16 by 16, otherwise it will not be visible. Oh, also we have to make sure that this is on 16 by 16 as well. We have to assign the style box texture. We're gonna put this one here. This one is this one. We're going to change the color just to recognize that this is from the Mpc. Now, as for texture, you can put anything on it. It will actually display different when you have the items, when you have the Mpc inventory loaded. So now that we created these two, we're gonna go over the code. So first we have to assign a slot type. Make sure that this one is in lowercase, so we can differentiate from this one, which is an enum that contains all the possible stuff that you can buy from the market. So let's start with, oh yeah, we're gonna assign a name. So it's going to be the name of the slot of this actual panel. Okay, so we basically are going to just assign the name of it by just putting, if it's shirt, if it's the name shirt here, then it will display a different icon. So we're gonna be grabbing depending on if it's a shirt or if it's a texture or anything, we're gonna be assigning a these numbers here. So 2 is for this shirt, the 6 is for this piece of branch, and then we got the 3 is for pants, 6 is for branch as well, 4 is for shoes here, 0, which is for slime potion. The Mpc inventory, which is basically very similar to the inventory that we have established for the player. we have to put texture rec, a label which is gonna display cell items, and we're gonna put inside a grid containers, which is going to be called by items, we're gonna put the NPC slots. So we're gonna grab these 3 times, and we're gonna change their names. So now that we put that together, we're going to go about the code. So first we have to assign the slot class, which is going to be a constant, always is a constant, and we're going to preload it so we can use the scripts from this variable, from this constant. Now we're going to put the NPC as well, so we can grab this and then use it, so you can add a child to the scene as an instance. And then we are gonna go about the item source name and the slots. So the slots is gonna be assigned as the children. So we're gonna grab all of these, so it's an array, and we're gonna assign a connection. So this connection, it will be for each of those childs inside the by items grid container that we're gonna be connecting a signal. So the signal will be every time that we select one of them, we're gonna be looking at this print. Let's try it. So as you see, it says connection all of the times. So now let's get into how to connect those two functions, the UI input and the slot UI input. So yeah, let's try to go about this code over here first. So we're gonna assign a slot. We're going to put the NPC slot instance, which is this one over here. So we're preloading it there, and we're setting the name of it. So the name of it's gonna be a string. We're gonna pass it over as a parameter, so we can use that later. Get node by items, so we're gonna get this node and we're gonna add a child, which is going to be a new slot with the name of the string that we're gonna put in it. So for instance, it will be like shirt 2, or it will be like pants 2, or choose 2, depending on the actual panel that you are clicking on it. So then we get the slots as well. We get the children's of the inventory slots, which is inventory slots, yeah, which is the children of the buy items. So for each of those slots, we're gonna connect signal again, the connection between the UI input and the function slot UI input. Then it will no longer let us click on it, so we have to click over the new NPC slots instance that we're creating. So for the next function, which is the new function, for this function we're gonna assign the slot class, so we can put it over here, and we're going to set this to yeah, so for each each child of the slot size, yeah, so for each of them we're going to make a condition. So if slot type, so if slot type over here, slot type, this is equals to, oh actually I'm in the wrong script, so yeah, so this one, if slot type is equals to one of these enums, then we're making sure that that condition is gonna return a value, which is going to be the slot type. And then if the player inventory size is less than 16, we're gonna add an item, and we're gonna put 1 as a quantity. Next, we're gonna set the function by items. So depending on each of these conditions, if the name of this is shared, then we're gonna put the item cells name. We're gonna equals that to one of the numbers that has these icons. As for example, an item cells. Okay, the item cells was over here. So depending on the item that we're selecting or we're establishing on that particular panel, then we're gonna assign a different number, and with that number, that's gonna make us understand that that's the item that we wanna put on the player inventory. So as you see, shared has a new, which is this function. We're assigning and we're adding the value to the player inventory, and then we're going to queue free. When that happens, that's gonna remove the slot, so it will remove the shirt, and it will add a new called the shirt2. The shirt2 is the string, so it's going to be the name, and if that's the name, then shirt2 is gonna be equals to 6 on the item cells name, and that's gonna give us that new. We're just gonna use the new, which is gonna add the branches every time you click on it, infinitely actually, because we haven't put any other conditions over it. And it's going to happen the same with the pants. So once it's click one time on it, it will queue free, and it will add a new panel, which is gonna be the pants too, and the same goes for these, and it's gonna be equals to the number that we're gonna set. So let's try it. Let's uncomment this. As you see, we got the items, everything seems to work. We click on this and you see it disappeared. It's no longer there, the shirt. Then we click on the pants and it appears over here as well. The shoes too, and then we only have these three. So branches is just gonna add the branches, and the slime potion is just gonna add the slime potions. Sell items to the NPC or to the market. So we're gonna call this function inside the global player inventory, which is remove item. So we are gonna assign two parameters: the quantity that we desire to remove, and also the slot class. If the item in the slot is different to null, then we're gonna match the slot variable inside of the slot, which is the slot type, and we're gonna put the enums that correspond to inventory and hotbar and also the equipment. In this case, we're not gonna be actually using this hotbar or equipment because we won't be able to remove from hotbar or from the equipment. We're just gonna be able to remove it from the inventory. So if it's matched with the slot type inventory, we're going to, and if it's less or equals to 0, we're gonna be passing. We're not gonna do anything. Else, we're going to remove the quantity of the slot index number 1, which is a dictionary that we have established here with inventory, and we're gonna be removing this. Like for example, here's 150. We're gonna be removing like 5, 10, depending on what we assign as a quantity to remove. Now that we settle that down, we're gonna start here, no, actually over here in slot. We're gonna call a function that we're gonna be using later. It's called the lata slot. So this is going to remove the item, child, and it's gonna refresh the style. So that means that if we don't have an item in it, then we're gonna be using the empty this one, the empty slot. So we go here on the code for the inventory. Okay, over here what's happening is that we're establishing another condition on top of what we had before. So this one is dedicated for the market. So if we click on the right button of the mouse and the slot is different to null, we're going to be doing some stuff here, starting with if the item, well, it takes 3 values for, right now for the items that we can sell. So we have this lime potion, the tree branch, and the chocolate bar. So over here we're also assigning another variable, which is selling quantity. This selling quantity, we're gonna be using it over here on marketplace. So we're gonna be removing the item, so we're gonna call the player inventory remove the item function. If the player inventory slot index is less or equals to 0, we're gonna be deleting the item from that slot, and also we're gonna be removing it from the player inventory. Else we're not gonna do anything. So on goal to pay, we're going to be placing a global variable which is called goal. For example, here 3,500 is the value, and we're gonna be using the selling quantity. The selling quantity, it's going to be the amount that we're gonna input so we can actually sell that. So no, actually the selling quantity is like a value that can be 5, can be 10, it depends. So as for example, when we press the button, we are in a button here and a label. So every time that we press this button, we're gonna add a 5. So we're gonna increase 5 times the selling quantity. So if it's actually more than 30, it's gonna get back to 5, and then it's gonna be looping all over. And also we're getting the text from the label, which is gonna be a string with the selling quantity, which it can be up to 5 up to 30. Okay, so yeah, selling quantity and the goal value. So here is actually the goal to pay is like the amount that the item value is multiplied by the selling quantity. So for example, if you're selling 5 and it's an item that is cost 2, then you will get 10 as a compensation. So in this function, we're gonna be calling the item stack, the name of the item. We're gonna be matching, if it's in a slime potion, we're gonna put it on 2, so that's the value of the item. As you see, goal to pay, so that's the value of that item. If it's a tree branch, it's gonna be 30, and if a chocolate bar, it's gonna be 100. The index stack, it's coming from the inventory dictionary on the player inventory global, which is an index, so we know what item we're clicking on, so the system will be acquiring that information as an index. So there's no more to say. If we don't have enough money, if we don't have enough items, I mean, then we're gonna call this not enough rupees, and let's try it. Okay, so we got the items working, we're selling items, I mean we're buying items from the market. And now if we want to sell, we're gonna be selling 5 branches, 5, 5, 5. If we want to sell more, we can get to 30 and it's gonna be selling 30. If we want to sell 20, and if we want to sell 5. So here you see it's working. Yeah, with that we actually reached out the goal, which it was creating the inventory with the SQLite database structure plus the information about the market. On the coming tutorial I still have a few more functions to add so we can save our inventory, and we can also add like a strange or any stats to the player by equipping an item. So that's all that I have to say for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and comment. Thanks a lot.